Okay. Hit OK on that. And
I'll get us kicked off here. Hang on.
okay.
Another person in the waiting room. All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our May 14th edition of the Preccelerator Workshop Series. Today, we have a very special presenter talking to us about something we just take for granted, I think, most of the time, and don't put a lot of thought into how we position ourselves and our look and feel. And today I'm happy to introduce our presenter, Venroy Joseph, with VJove Brands. And he is going to talk to us about color. And Venroy, you're up.
All righty. Well, more importantly, I'm going to discuss the psychology of color in marketing. One of those courses we hear a lot is like, oh, we're going to talk about color. But for this presentation, we're going to be talking about the psychology of color in marketing. Oh, it was Leigh Hunt who said, colors are the smiles of nature. And my promise is that at the end of this presentation, each of you would have a strong concept of how colors affect your everyday decision making and how marketing brands like myself will cheat the system by using colors to force your decision and engage you to make a decision to buy and sell from us. Now, color is color is powerful, which directly influences the soul. And I think that was said by, I researched that, I think that was said by Wazi Kandinsky, and don't kill me for the pronunciation of his name. But he said those words, and because of that, we have context for our entire presentation, the power of color. Now, what is color? Um, when we consider it, color, well, the psychology of color, color psychology. Color psychology is the research about how color affects human behavior, but not just our behavior, how it affects our emotions, how we think, how we operate. The different colors, hues, tones bring distinct association for us and impact our moods, our decision making. Color psychology can vary depending on personal preferences and also culture. And I will dig into some of these things with more detail a little later as well. So emotions. Color psychology plays a major role in consumer decision and evaluate brands. So here's this. Up to 90% of an initial impression comes from color. We walk into a room, we walk into a store, what we see impacts our senses and our impression is instantly made in that moment. Color can increase brand awareness and recognition by 80%. Now, if I was doing my old school class, I was like, do you guys actually hear that? 80%. So even before you do that sales pitch, even before you do your presentation, the mind of the individual you're presenting to, they've already chosen to do something or be aware of something because of the color. 93% of consumers make purchasing decisions based on visuals alone. It's like visuals alone, they didn't hear anything, they just saw something and voila, that's it. Now, how different colors evoke specific emotions, we're going to run through a few of them. And the first one I'm going to run through is red. Oh, we have energy, we have attention, we have passion. And Red is this color that also brings excitement. It can create a sense of urgency, stimulate appetite, and in that regard, I'm going to share something with you now that would help you understand how powerful color is, but don't judge me. When I lived in Maryland, my kitchen was blue. Blue, I'll share that a little later, does something to the appetite as well. Red, on the other hand, opens your appetite. For some reason, I decided to paint my kitchen a reddish orange. And in the span of moving here, I've gained 40 pounds just by color. Just by color, nothing else, just by color. Now we move to blue, and just like I mentioned in the other one, in red actually increases appetite, blue suppresses appetite. So if you're thinking of losing some weight or going on a diet plan, scrap that idea and just paint your kitchen blue. It'll save you a lot more and it'll be more effective. But specifically, blue is the color for trust, security, and reliability. We'll notice that a lot of men will wear blue, and a lot of folks in business, whether male or female, in the business workplace, they'll wear blue to meetings just to have that connection and trust right off the bat. Now, you'll find healthcare organizations doing that. You'll find a finance, you'll find technology industry using this color. And specifically what they're gearing at is your connection to security and reliability with the color blue. The next color we're going to go to is yellow. Yellow is a color of optimism, innovation, and attention. Yellow is also associated with happiness, creativity, grabs your attention, and can create a sense of excitement. However, it's important to use yellow sparingly, as excessive use can be overwhelming and even develop anxiety from using yellow. Meaning, if you paint your bedroom in yellow, you'll find that when you wake up in the morning, you're going to be more anxious, you're going to be more stressed just going into work from this color. Hopefully, we don't have a lot of yellow office buildings, because this would create that sense of anxiety and anxiousness. The next color, oh, by the way, if anyone has a question, they can stop me at any time, interrupt. I'll be happy to answer, but we have a section at the end for question and answers. The next one is green. Now, green, you have health, you have tranquility, you have growth, you have nature. It's often used by brands that are pushing that organic feel, giving you a sense of balance, harmony, making you feel as if you're connected to the earth, and giving you a sense of sustainability and emotional consciousness. That's all green. There's a lot I might go over with you later with green when talking about one of the brands. I'm not going to share it yet, but when talking about one of the brands, there's some information I'm going to share about green specifically. Now we go to purple. Purple gives you that sense of luxury and mystery. It's often associated with royalty. It can create a sense of elegance, sophistication, and mystery in addition to spirituality. So it's important to consider when you're using purple, your target audience would be crucial. We'll share that as well later on. This is just, all these are just the preview for context for what I'll dig into in detail. Next, we have orange. Orange is the color of enthusiasm and warmth. Now, on some of your screens, this orange may look a little yellow, but it's technically orange. Now, it also has a sense of friendliness. It can create a sense of excitement, energy. Orange is often that brand for entertainment, hospitality, sports industries, and vibrant, engaging brands. Like Vija design brand uses orange just for that excitement, warmth, creativity, everything. Note in this portion here, orange is a combination of what two colors?
Yellow and red.
Yellow and red. You got it. When you're using orange, it's important to note as well that you will have some of the context for red and from yellow coming together. So sometimes you will find, and you'll find that the orange will take on the anxiousness of yellow, depending on how much of that yellow is in the orange. Or if it's a reddish orange, it'll take on the context of alertness, awareness. So sometimes we have to bear in mind the shades that we're using and the context in which they play these mind games on us, we'll say now. So we're gonna dig a little deeper and we're gonna take a look at some of the brands that use different colors. So we have green. Now I mentioned green earlier. Green, it's interesting to note that green was the color for wedding dresses in the 15th century. So today we know wedding dresses as, oh, you're with white and typically, some are a little different, but with white and it must be pure looking. In the 15th century, green was the color for wedding dresses. And you'll notice today that you have the green M&M is used to share for sexuality. Whole Foods also use green as a sense of natural earth connectivity. Starbucks. Starbucks also uses green. And there's a lot to unpack. I would actually need an entire session to review why Starbucks uses green, but Starbucks also uses green. Oh, jumping over, we have all the healthcare and the software companies that I mentioned using green. The reds, you have all these food. If you notice inside the red, you have this entire food category for Wendy's, Pizza Hut, McDonald's, KFC, Popeyes, and Coca-Cola. All of these brands are using the red. Then for the sophistication of the black, you have Chanel, you have Michael Kors, Prada, Dior, and Armani. Pink. Pink takes on the femininity, yet it has the strength, again, depending on the shade of red, the characteristics of red blend because of course pink is white and red put together. So it has the characteristics of red, but it has a little calming effect. So oftentimes you'll see pink being used for like breast cancer foundation, Barbie, the femininity, Victoria's Secrets, and Baskin Robbins is using it as well in their brand, but there's a combination of the blue. So you have that trustworthiness and that soft calming effect from Baskin Robbins. So we're gonna dig even further now. We're gonna go through some case studies that successfully use brand and color branding psychology. So we're gonna dig in. We have Coca-Cola, will be one that I'll go over. The next one we have would be Apple. I'm sure a lot of folks would like to hear about that one. The other one we have is McDonald's. The next one, Starbucks. The digging in, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is one of our recognized for its iconic red and white branding. Red is meant to evoke a sense of energy, excitement, and passion. White invokes and provides you a sense of simplicity and purity. The combination of both these colors now create a strong, a strong imagery and reinforces the Coca-Cola brand identity as its leading beverage brand. Now, we're not gonna have conversations with the Pepsi folks because if we notice, Pepsi is using red as well and the blue color because they want to evoke a sense of trust in the Pepsi Cola brand. We also notice that inside Coca-Cola imagery, we have all of these red symbolisms with the white and showing the pure resemblance of flavor. I'm not sure if you remember when Coca-Cola one year did the commercial where they just cracked open the can and you just hear the pouring up. It was amazing. It was one of my favorites actually. And then we have this one, which I'm gonna play here for us. I'm gonna pause this and I'm gonna actually talk over it because I think in this section, a lot of people actually miss what Coca-Cola did. Coca-Cola several years ago determined that they want to steal Christmas. They already had the iconic and with some research, you'll find out that Christmas did not have the red and white. This was years ago. Some researchers said Christmas didn't have red and white, but from Coca-Cola, I'm not too sure about all of that. But Coca-Cola came in and negotiated to have Christmas and Santa be in the red and white and have all these information being put out there that, Christmas is red and white. So since this period, you've been having Christmas, Kris Kringle being in red and white. This is so much propaganda. Being in red and white, and it's all because Coca-Cola has such a powerful impact on Christmas. Wow. One thing to note though, Coca-Cola does connect Christmas. It connects to Christmas in such a powerful way that we think the red and white, we see the Santa, we see the polar bear, all that stuff within their marketing and connect with their brand like no other brand during the season as well. We even want to leave a little bit of the Coca-Cola there for Santa coming down the chimney. Odd. Now, the next one we have is one of my favorites. It's Apple. Apple's branding, it's pristine, it is clean, it is memorable. What it does, it tracks the color of gray and use it in all shades so that we have that sense of purity coming from white, because white is the actual purity, and the black, the sophistication of black, connecting it so that now you have this clean, sophisticated brand, and it has this regal feel to it that you just want to get their stuff. Now, they have great brand messaging, but beyond the messaging, remember, we're making decisions, 80% of it, right off the bat before we even hear the messaging from the brand. I didn't want to stick too much with Apple because we may have a lot of Android users and I didn't want to create any enemies. So we're going to jump over to McDonald's. McDonald's is one of the most well-known food franchise across the world. It picked yellow and red as its colors. Yellow giving you a sense of urgency, red giving you that connection with food, opens your appetite. So if you'll notice when you go into any McDonald's, you will notice that it is painted in shades of red or yellow so that you walk in there and you're ordering things that that aren't really healthy. But guess what? You're gonna eat it anyway because of the colors and the tricks the colors are playing on your mind. You know, there isn't anyone in this room that will say, oh my goodness, McDonald's is so healthy. They wouldn't. But you will still eat McDonald's because of the mental questions that are being answered just from the color selection in this piece. The next one, green, Starbucks. Should I or should I not? I'm gonna give you some backstory with Starbucks. And for some people, you're gonna you're gonna open your computers and you're actually gonna look this up. Does anyone know what a siren is? So a siren is this mythical creature that will sing beautifully and lure soldiers into the ocean to their death. Starbucks did what? Picked a siren as its logo. Beyond that, what the siren was a symbol of sexuality and femininity, and they were just gorgeous looking creatures. In the original Starbucks logo, and I know I digress just a little bit, but I beg indulgence. In the original Starbucks logo, you have the siren spreading herself in its entirety in the logo. You can go back and Google, look up the logo for Starbucks, and you'll notice over the years, since we're present to that as a society, they started zooming in so that you only see the head and the tail. You don't see the entire spread of the logo, but that's what the logo means. Oh, being one of our favorite brands, though, it is our favorite brands. It's so iconic with the white, creating that fertility with you, and the green for purity. So even though you're being sold a $5 cup of coffee for 75 cents, you've already bought the coffee before you walk into the store. The connectivity with the color and what it says in its imagery and what it says to your mind, you have already bought the coffee before you walk into the store. It gives you a sense of calmness. It gives you even their walking into their coffee shops. I blanked out on the actual name that the Starbucks gives us coffee shops. And the baristas, how they're all in green. It calms you down. The environment, the wood and everything in the chair having that natural feel just calms you down. And you would pick any coffee. Sometimes you stay there just watching because you're like, oh, I want to add more latte and I want to add more this. While you're adding those things, they're actually adding to your tab and you're gonna spend more money because it's the Starbucks brand. Now, we're gonna dig in even deeper. Color trends in marketing. Now, this one I had to do some research from. I'm young and old at the same time, but this one took a little bit. So colors has influenced marketing trends throughout the centuries. Like one notable example that I mentioned before was the green for the wedding dresses from the 15th century. And Today they're white. Today we look at each decade from the color palette, which I'll just show you each of the color palettes from American pop culture. So this trend is not a global trend, but this trend is specific to an American trend that we have done. I'm gonna show it for the past 30 years, going back to 1980. So 30, 40 years. So one thing we noticed first, going back to starting out with the 2010s, we have exuberance and minimalism. Now, VJov has this connection during this period. So you'll notice a lot of, even with the PowerPoint, you'll notice we have that minimalistic look. We're chiefs with minimalism, and a lot of our awards and everything like that. Our pieces are just clean, minimalistic. So you'll see that in things like the Apple Watch, that minimalistic look. You walk into different places, that minimalistic look. And you find it within the pink, the polished copper, the quartz, the social bubble, the succulent, a million likes. You'll see that color. And then we dig down more and we see the bursting of the millennium, that's the 2000. You see these bright colors. In this time period, this was when the AirPod came out. The AirPod came out. Apple was shifting to like the clam. I don't know if you remember the iMac clams. You have all these different pinks and these bright pastel colors. Paris Hilton was the highlight of this period as well. Nickelodeon, your Miss Sunshine, your Xenon Ruby, your Yes We Cyan. It's like Yes We Can, but a play on that. And LimeWire. I don't know how many remember LimeWire, but yes, I've downloaded so many songs and I don't have them anymore. I'm being nice because we do have production and we know the rights of royalty now. But LimeWire, all these brands were popular during that time period. And if you notice the connection between the pop era and colors, a lot of these colors, as you see them now, would not be from major brands. The jewel musing, the Oprah's coach, the tracksuit, the da dee dee da dum. I don't know if you remember that song. The Blue Guys. Blue Man, Blue something. Those fellas. Yes, that blue was from them, and that period exemplified all these different colors and tone, the spruce, the Dijon, the moody mauve. I don't know how you get a moody mauve, but you had all these colors just exemplified during the 1990s. So the 90s baby they will notice they have this connection to these colors, not knowing why, but it was your era colors. So we now move further down to the last one I'll go over. It's the 8-bit Wonderland. Now, the 8-bit Wonderland, you have the square that you would try to get all the colors matching as you twist it around the Rubik's. Then you have Pac-Man, you have all these little Donkey Kong, all these little games that had only 8-bit of color, so they had to use it wisely. Back in this time, Apple had the multicolor logo. So back then, it did not have the sophisticated gray of its rebranding. It had the multicolored green, yellow, orange, red, purple, blue logo color. Now, that was all a part of the 8-bit era where we were wearing, as I'm saying where we were wearing acid wash jeans. I don't know if you remember that, where Prince bought out his Purple Rain, and you have Tron, you have Miami Vice, you have Pac-Man, and all these different things that came out, the power suit being a part of it from Paula Abdul. All of these came from the 90s era, the 1980s era. And these colors also impacted marketing because now the trend, and I'm not on the trend boat for marketing, but the trend agencies, what they will do, they will use these colors to get quick and easy clients versus doing the research to actually understand how the colors work and using colors appropriate for the brand and to connect with the brand. You move on a little further and we're gonna give you some homework in classwork, not homework, you can't go home and do it, in classwork. So we're gonna guess the brand by the color. Can anyone guess this one? No, I am not seeing the chat, so I don't know if
Oh, no one's, I'm monitoring it. I'm saying, someone said Target or Coke,
it
Wendy's.
is Coca-Cola. Awesome sauce. Now the next one.
Apple, someone said Apple. Apple.
Okay, I see. I just created a way to do that. I put out a new window and pull up the chat. So if you see me leaning this way, I'm reading chats as well. So yes, it is Apple. And the next one, this might be a lot challenging, but I
Barney,
believe in you guys. And why I believe in you guys, I'm gonna give you a hint. We
Barney,
just passed Mother's Day.
Purple Mattresses.
No, no,
Uh,
we just passed Mother's Day.
so is it,
This company along that time period is one of its highest revenue in the year. I'm giving
Pro
away too many
Flowers,
hints. Say that again.
Pro Flowers, Teleflorist.
Another one.
Help me out, folks. Come on. I'm the only one guessing here.
Yeah. What's the other one?
Well, I'm gonna give it to you.
1-800-Flowers.
Hallmark.
Hallmark.
Hallmark. That was, I gave you the hint. It's like
Yeah.
their highest revenue in period is Mother's Day. They give the most cards. The next one we have,
Well, you gave us that one.
you know it,
Yeah, thanks.
Starbucks
Starbucks.
and
Who's yellow? McDonald's.
well, McDonald's does have a yellow, but their yellow is a yellowish orange. Now I'll give you hints on this one. During the travel season, when you land at airport and you need to get home, you're gonna
Taxi.
use them.
Yellow taxi.
Um, you're on the right track.
Hertz.
There you go. Hertz. Hertz is that yellow brand. The reason being
Jake got that before me. I want to give credit where credit's due. Jake Grogan got that before me.
alrighty, give credit. Hertz is one of those brands that they push clean with it's a yellow and black. The clean and elegance of the black that pushes on that logo. I'm gonna share this part with you. It's something I snuck in there because I want to make us present to something. Over in this section, and can you see my mouse?
Yes.
Okay, over in this section, we have Uber, Vice, WeWork. all these companies, they are 38% of the recognition among all brands, 38%. And inside this area here, this black area, they have, and Len, you probably have additional data on this. I'm doing it from the design standpoint. They have the highest valuation of any of the unicorn companies. So Uber, if you notice this little chart here for the valuation, Uber is at 62 billion. Pilar, 20. WeWork, 10. So all these within that dark, that gray section, all of them, their valuation are in the billions. Now, when we come over to the pinkish red section, that's 16%. The yellowish red section, 12%. The green section, 6%. The blue, the famous blue section, 20%. And the blue, purple, gray section, 8%. What I gather from this, and when I do logos, I lean towards following the unicorn data and then going beyond that, getting the context for what the industry for my client is and design logos based on that. Now, side note, just to prop Vijay up, for the past, like I think since 2019, we've been ranked by Nix Markham in their top 10 best design firms in the world. And it's particularly with brand development. We have been excellent at developing brands, knowing the color, knowing the audience and the target and that type of stuff. This is my soapbox. Understanding this is just my soapbox. Love it dearly. And Nyx, that's NYXMARCOM. Just in the event you're looking for that, Miranda. So, okay, what? Let me back up a second here. Okay, there we go. So, let's back up even more. One slide. So we're going to look at color trends in marketing. Now that we understand a lot about the psychology and how we can leverage it, we're going to look at how it works for us today in general marketing. There are some steps that we ought to pay attention to, and I'm going to share these steps right here, right now. You're going to get them. You're going to love them. One, the first one we look at is the target. Different industries and target audiences may have different color preferences and associations. What you need to do here is to research your industry target audience to understand the preferences and select colors that resonate with that industry. Two, question?
I think it was a cough.
Okay. Two, brand personality values. The color you choose play a significant role in evoking associations of your target audience. By selecting the colors that align with your brand personality, you can be more effective in creating a strong emotional connection with your audience. The next one, differentiation. You need to choose colors that help differentiate your brand from another brand. A unique visual identity that stands out from other competitors. Avoid using similar colors or colors that may be too close. So if you're starting up a let's call it a shipping brand, and you want to use a beige, I'm gonna use the color dark beige just for context, it would not work because brown belongs to UPS. That's why I said dark beige. Dark beige is what? Brown. Because you want to be like, oh yeah, I want this earth color, I want to show my sustainability. I want to show all the, but without really differentiating yourself, distinguishing the fact that you are different from the competitor, you've lost the battle early on. The next one, longevity. When I went through the decades, I shared with you that a lot of designers sometimes shortcut when creating brands and just use trends versus using things that are long-term. It is important to stay current and relevant, yes, but choosing colors that will withstand time is crucial for your brand. Select colors that are timeless, appealing, and can adapt to evolving consumer preferences. Very important. The next one, cultural consideration. Colors can have different meaning association in different cultures. Ensure that you're choosing colors that are culturally appropriate and that your message would not inadvertently send the wrong context to your audience and in turn insulting them and losing them. If you're going to a global market, you don't want to use a color that, okay, it's fine in the US, but has a different context in the country where you're marketing. Like when you're creating your brand, know your global market, or rather, when I'm saying global in this context, I'm not talking about worldwide. Know your global, whether it's the entire Virginia or the entire California. Know your global market, understand what happens within that market, and run with it. These are important considerations. Now we jump to the big questions. We understand now the colors, how colors work, how they impact the mind, how we think. We also gathered from it what emotions come from various colors. Then going to that, we know what colors for various industries, and we can take away from that how to create from the 5 distinctions just shared, how to create and select colors appropriate for a brand. Now we've gathered all that. The floor is open for any questions you may have for me.
Anybody have a question, please chime in. You don't have to raise your hand. You can unmute yourself. Don't everybody jump in at once.
Hi, I have a question.
Go for it.
Listening?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
I can.
Hi, awesome. So I would like to introduce a color into a market that's traditionally a different color. So for example, we're making algae products for the oral health space, which is traditionally white, and algae is green. And so it's very unusual, but we'd like to pull the audience in that direction. So is that possible? Consumer behavior is hard to change. And is that a worthwhile effort to do if it's meaningful?
So I'm gonna reiterate what you said. You are going to and stay on the screen for me so I can still see you. You are trying to introduce algae as like an oral way, it's like oral hygiene product. Okay. From my culture, I'll keep it personal. From my culture, one of the other names we have for when your teeth is not looking too fine and you're not having a healthy breath, we would say, why does your breath smell green? So right off the bat, like right off the bat, you're going to have to, in this brand, you're going to have to jump the hurdle that is naturally there with the green breath. Are you up for that?
Wonderful. Yes, it is very green in the mouth, so it fits right in.
Now I'm going to help you because this is what we do. I'm going to help you.
Thank
Instead
you.
of using um, algae at its full concentration of color, pull it back. Pull it back closer to a mint look, not change it to mint. Pull it back closer to a mint color, and you will start the process of it being a healthy transformation for the individual versus just saying, hey, we're gonna full out go algae, because that green hurdle that would be hard for you to get up for cultures across the world. It's almost like creating a toothpaste brand that's yellow. The first thing they're gonna be like, oh wow, that's gonna make your teeth yellow. That's it. Even though yellow has certain connotations of itself, urgency and all that stuff, the color also has some cultural context in terms of what is happening within that industry. Teeth being yellow, so toothpaste being yellow, bad idea. So with this now, you want the algae, you're gonna have to push it up to the mint color so that you can get some good traction. And you can also reach out to us for additional help if you want.
I will definitely do that. Thank you. This has been a great presentation.
Awesome.
Thanks, Benroy. We have a couple of questions in chat. The first one's from
Okay.
Miranda,
Uh-huh.
and she says, we're a marketplace that helps thought leaders license their training content to companies, B2B corporate training focused. Work seamlessly with enterprise learning management systems, standardized licensing terms for video content. What color do you think fits best?
Well, you've been through this course, and I'm going to help you answer that question by yourself. I can see you laughing. When we're doing business to business, you're doing business to business, and you're in the software, pretty much you're in the software technology realm. What color was really strong inside that arena?
We can't hear you,
You got
Miranda.
it. Blue.
I couldn't hear you. Oh, you typed it, blue.
It is blue. So what I would recommend, I would use a blue and combine it with the elegance of a cool gray so that you bring sophistication to the brand as well. So you're using the blue so that you can build trust easily. You know, it's not a big hurdle. Automatically trust you. You're wearing blue. You can build trust easily, integrity, and then you add the sophistication of a cool gray for your like subs and that type of stuff. It'll be an awesome venture to trot down that direction.
Thanks, Benroy. We have another question in chat. I've heard yellow can be considered unpleasant and that experiments have shown people rate food on a blue plate as tasting better than a food on a yellow plate. No source can be found. What makes me wonder why any brands use yellow?
Well, if we go back if we go back a bit, in this presentation, I mentioned that yellow creates anxiety. So when you're putting food on a yellow plate, like straight yellow plate, instantly that person becomes anxious. Now, when you mix this yellow with red, like we're talking about pure, let's go back a little bit to look at some actual colors of this sort. So when you're talking about this kind of yellow, Pac-Man, and you put that on a plate, there is what's going to be there for you is anxiety. You're going to be stressed because it's one of the key things that I mentioned. Be careful when using this color that you're not making your audience anxious and stressed. I also said, make sure your office isn't painted like this or your bedroom isn't painted like this, because you'll notice you wake up in the morning feeling stressed and anxious. If you have an orange, like I did the dangerous thing of doing, my kitchen is actually orange. That environment creates more of an eating, and you eat more, you end up 40 pounds overweight. Now, on the flip, if you were to use a blue color for your kitchen environment, you will eat less. In fact, I'll take it a step further than that because I went over the surface. In fact, what happens in a blue environment, you will choose to eat healthier. So within that research, it's not necessarily that the food tastes better, it's that the food is healthier based on the choice. You will eat healthier on a blue plate than you would on a yellow plate. Did that resonate for that person? I think that was
That was
Jake
good.
Grogan.
Yep.
Awesome sauce. Now from Gia, you mentioned timeless colors. What are those and what makes a color timeless? Wow, what would be an example of adapting a different trend? That, Gia, yes, you asked this question. Timeless colors, when we go back to Coca-Cola, I mentioned that Coca-Cola, that color, they have used this red consistently through the decades. Coca-Cola have been with us for a long time. They've created a timeless color. Some other brands that use timeless colors within the black are very timeless. So where you have, let me scroll back here again to show some of those that would be timeless. Nope, that would not be on that. Some of the colors that would be, some of the logos that would be in the timeless section would be Brooks Brothers, logo being black. They have this old font, yet they have not changed their logo because it's one of those that's considered a timeless logo. Apple shifted from the multicolor over to the gray so that they can now fall into that timeless category of a timeless logo. Timeless, so you'll find like on my screen here, all the logos that will fall into this category will naturally by default end up being timeless logos. Their font, they'll end up being timeless. I'm very picky about fonts, so like when I see a terrible font, it's like I cringe. But based on color, within this category, within the 38, you'll find the logo being timeless. So like HP, their blue is blue. These blues here are also timeless. for like HP. Dropbox has been there for quite some time. Canon is actually in the black. These are quick off my head ones that I can think of being in the timeless category. Now, adopting a different trend, like I was mentioning to I forgot her name, but the lady who talked about the color going for algae. It takes a lot to adopt a different trend. It's a lot of work required. Typically, to push a global shift for a trend, you have to be like a major influencer. Someone like Beyonce, if she came out and said, well, brown is no longer brown, we're gonna call it earth. That type of move can shift trends. If she came out with her own logo, like if she alongside Taylor Swift made some color selections, automatically we'll have some trend shifts because of that. So major influencers create trend shifts. In the 15th century with the wedding dresses, that trend shifted via men wanted to see purity in their brides, and it's a longer story than that, but purity in their brides. So it shifted from the green over to the red. The green was more regal, that was for the upper class, and you had some segregation between the upper class and the regular folks, and it just shifted where the regular folks were like, oh, we're just gonna wear white. It's easier for us to use the hemp material, all that stuff that just pushed it over there, and voila. Over the years, white dresses became the trend. So I'm not sure if those answers helped you, but if you need, you can contact me offline. I can give you a deep dive into where you want to go. The context would be significant. So finding out why you want that trend shifted and that type of stuff would also help the discussion.
That was awesome.
Outstanding.
Thank you. I do have a quick follow-up. I figured it'd be easier to just talk. I was more considering when we went through the decades, you saw the differences in the color schemes that were kind of popular during those decades. If you had a brand that had a particular color, what would be the options in adapting to those trends as they changed? So would you play with the maybe the shade of the color or the tint, or would you just completely swap out the color? Like Apple has the really iconic shape that they stuck to. So I was thinking more along the lines, and how much do you want to stick to the color that you originally chose, that sort of thing? And that might be a long question, but that was like
I think I got, so if you have a logo where, your designer played a cheap game and just went with the trend and didn't go for longevity, how important or essential is it for you to change the shade or just go with a new color altogether? I'll answer that question by this. If you look on screen, we are a design firm. Instead of fighting with the trends of color, we're all the colors. We're a literal splash of color. However, this logo combination is for VJUV brands, our overall brand. We have several different brands underneath. So our VJUV Life, which does funeral programs, wedding programs, memorial, that falls in the line of the purple. So that brand is in the purple color. VJUV Design, which does brand design and brand creation, that is orange. Excitement, enthusiasm, that type of stuff. VJUV Creative falls along the green, and that green is more of a lime green versus a Starbucks green, as it will say. It'll fall more in the upper echelons of this color here versus the Starbucks deeper green as in down here. And we just selected colors that were applicable to what the mind thinks of the different brands. And then our overall color logo is color, full color. And then when we don't use, when otherwise, it's actually a white logo. White logo with drop shadow. That's so there's no color. It's void of color when otherwise. So for me, as much as possible, if you can ensure, if you're creating something now, ensure that your designer is choosing the colors based on what is appropriate to the 5 guidelines we went through later in the presentation. I'm gonna go back and put them all up on the screen for reference. We're gonna have those 5 guidelines, make sure those 5 guidelines are followed. Going beyond that, if it's already done and it's done following the trend, I would say it's important for you to do a brand audit. Like a brand audit meaning look over your logo, check in your audience, check your messaging, making sure that your message resonates with the audience. And if it does not, find a way to create some synergy between the organization and the audience so that you can actually meet your audience. They are going to make a decision whether they want to work with you or not based on your color and your logo. I tell clients so often that your logo is gonna go places way before you step into the door. So ensure that your logo can carry your messaging without you having to say one word.
Very good. Great answer. Does anybody else have one last question? Not seeing any. I'd like to thank you all for attending. Venroy, you did a great job. This was fascinating, and I think often overlooked because in the startup world, everybody's moving so fast that they don't take time to smell the colors. So
I like that. I like that. Very true. You are absolutely welcome. For all of you who are on screen and who are sharing this or seeing me on screen and hearing this information, you can connect with me on LinkedIn if you have additional questions that you may have been too shy to ask in this forum. Connect with me, send me a message. I'll be happy to answer them for you and actually get you the result you're looking for.